Hi, in our series of PfMP exam prep questions, this is our final video because we are touching the fifth domain, which is communication management. Before this, you might have already checked the 40 questions, 10 questions each portfolio management performance domain as per PfMP exam content outline. So today, in this particular video, I am focusing on communication management. You might be aware that communication management is also involving stakeholder engagement in case of PfMP exam. So this particular domain we should also be considering when we are talking about things like identifying activities, analyzing stakeholder engagement, and coming up with a customized engagement and communication strategy for the stakeholders. You understand that this particular domain gives you around 15% questions, but communication and risk are two domain which easily get mixed up with other type of questions. So though 15% may look less, but I recommend you spend good time preparing for communication management. Now, other than the free resources which I'm sharing on the YouTube, you can also focus on enrolling to our program where we have a detailed resources talking about your PfMP preparation. And one of the critical element is having 50 questions specific to each domain and then having full length test to make you ready for your PfMP exam. You also have an option to choose application assistance in case you need, but this is something I would recommend you should take because it ensures that you succeed in your PfMP exam without problem because retake is little expensive. Okay, let's start with the 10 question, the 41 to 50 related to communication management. Here, question number 41. You are a portfolio manager developing the portfolio communication management plan. Effective communication is essentially to align expectations and ensure stakeholder engagement. Which of the following items are needed for developing the communication matrix? So it is basically talking about what do I refer, what do I put in a communication matrix. That's something we are exploring. So first, portfolio stakeholders communication needs and expectations. Yes, I need to know their needs and expectations, else how I will create it. And communication objectives. Yes, I need to know why we want to communicate, what we want to communicate, how we want to communicate, and how frequently we want to communicate. That all is going. So A looks good. Option B, portfolio risk register, manager roles and responsibility. Both of them are not directly linked to communication management. Identified stakeholder concerns. Yes, it could be there. There could be a stakeholder expectations and concerns. We can put it because the communication management also includes stakeholder engagement. So that looks good. And the portfolio charter is not looking relevant in the option C because portfolio charter is authorization artifact. It may get revisited when we are doing drastic strategic change, but not about communication planning. Communication vehicle and organization process assets. You definitely use communication vehicles, and you also take a reference of organization process assets. So I think we need to compare between A and D. Now both looks candidate option. The A clearly talks about communication needs and expectation, communication objective, which is more important than just focusing on organization process assets. So that way, I will choose the option A for this particular answer. Yeah. Now, if you have any difference of opinion, put it in the comment, but this is how we can possibly navigate in a PfMP exam. Question number 42. You are a portfolio manager. A key stakeholder expressed frustration about attending recurring status meeting, claiming they are waste of time since they already received detailed status report. How should you best address this concern? So definitely, I want to talk to the stakeholder. I want to understand it. I want to understand, and I also want to understand their perspective. And I want to explain my perspective, why this communication is happening with you, why we have decided at this particular communication strategy or approach. And if there is a misalignment, we want to fix it. Yeah, that is something I will do. So let's see what kind of option can help me in taking that path. Option E, escalate to the governance board against the stakeholder. Definitely not. Stakeholder is finding something is not relevant. I need to understand that. Send minutes of meeting to the stakeholder to ensure commitment to the future meeting. So you are saying, you don't come, I will send you the MOMs. It may happen once we discuss it. Yeah. I want to talk to him. I want to understand his perspective and explain my perspective first. Option C, record the issue in the issue log and consult the governance committee. I can definitely make a note of it. Yes, issue log making note is not at all a problem, but I don't want to go to governance committee about it. I want to discuss it. I should be going with the recommendations, not with, there is a problem. Let's see, option D probably give us some choice. Meet the stakeholder to discuss the benefits of the status meeting. Looks good. Yeah. It could have been more better if we talk about that, meet the stakeholder to understand their concerns and explain the advantage and the reasoning of having all those status meeting and trying to find out how we can suit his expectations. Yeah, that option could have been better. But in the exam, you may get suboptimal options as well. And we just need to find out whichever works best in a given situation. So we go with option D. Question number 43. An organizational senior management team has approved a new set of portfolio management processes. However, as the portfolio manager, you notice that compliance with these processes is inconsistent, and the stakeholders provided information is often incomplete or to the poor quality. What is the most appropriate action you should take to address these issues? So we have an agreement on how to do things, some kind of processes inside the portfolio, and some of the people are not following it. Yeah? So what should you do? I probably need to work with them, fill the education gap. I need to understand why they are not following it. If it's an education gap, I will fill it. If it's an attitude gap, we will find out how do we create a working agreement so that we can really follow it. And if there is a disagreement, we want to take to the appropriate authority and discuss about those disagreements. I need to discover something. Yeah, that's something I will do. So let's see what are the options. Option A, develop a communication and training program for stakeholders on the portfolio management processes. Looks good. Yeah. A little bit assuming that could be the gap reason. Yeah. It could have been better if I can just understand what is the reason they are not following it. Yeah, that choice is better. Let's see if we get it, else we'll come back to the option A. Option B, collect the necessary information from stakeholder at scheduled interval. So it is saying no matter if they are not following, I will just collect the information on my own. Doesn't make much sense. Ask the senior stakeholder to hold an all staff meeting to emphasize the importance of the processes. It's a possible thing I can do. Yeah. If I realize that this thing is because of the resistance and they can only listen to the senior management. But in general, for a PfMP exam, I want to try to find an action on me rather than I say the management will take care of it. So if I compare A and C, both seems to be, the question is not giving detail the reason of the problem, but a little bit indication is coming that there's a new set of portfolio management processes. Yeah. So we can say, okay, new set, and probably it's a lack of awareness. And that's why the A is better than C as of now. Let's see D. Escalate stakeholder performance issue to the senior management for disciplinary actions. That's anyway not relevant. So we just need to compare between A and C. The A gives me a little more focus on portfolio manager's role, and it talks about that we should be communicating about it. When you look at your exam content outlines, we'll talk about that you should be educating, communicating about processes, documentations, and compliances. And that way also this option fits well, and that's why I will go with option A. So this is the answer in a question number 43. Its option is A. Question number 44. You are a portfolio manager and notice that the data is poor and inaccurate. What is most appropriate action to be taken in this situation? Now you can expect such kind of questions when you are compiling the data and it may have inconsistencies. Now, it depends upon what all choices are available. If it is a choice available where you can say, I can work out with the team and fix the data so that we can have a good quality result, that's a good choice. Yeah. If the choice is saying that we will have a better data tools, yeah, for a future prevention, that also a good choice. Now, if those choices are not coming, then I will say, okay, what best I can make out of this data? Yeah, that could also be a choice. So let's see what all options we have in this question. Build forecast based on trend in the data. Yeah, so I'm saying I'm trying to make best use of whatever is available. Option A. Option B, update the stakeholder engagement strategy. Yeah, so see, usually the stakeholder engagement strategy is more associated with those people who are having interest and some contribution in from a like a very, if I go just theoretically, we can also consider component managers also as a stakeholder. But the component managers are component managers. They are part of me. So I don't have to focus on engagement strategy. Rather, I need to have an agreement on working protocols. Yeah, I need to have more clarity about how do we work, rather than I think of how do I engage the project managers and program managers. Yeah, so that's something is little vague, but it's a candidate. Yeah, we can say yes, by engaging project managers, program managers, where probably I can get a better data, but it's a little two-step process. It is not directly focusing on the problem at hand. Yeah. Maybe if I go one level before, it could be a lack of engagement. That's why they are not giving me the data. Update the stakeholder metrics. Yeah. So I'm collecting the data. Perform a cost benefit analysis, definitely not. So personally, I feel there is no good option available in this question. I should be focusing on how best I can fix the data, how best we can have a more accurate data. But if these options are not available, I as a portfolio manager may want to sense trend out of data and present that. And probably I also put a disclaimer that, this is based on some of the observations which need to be further discovered, because we were not getting the absolute right data. Not giving a report, not presenting the status to the management is usually not a good idea. I better present something with a disclaimer. That seems to be a better option. And that's why option A wins in this particular question. You can expect these kind of challenges and choices in your exam. Question number 45. You are a portfolio manager. A group of stakeholders are expressed concern that they are receiving too much information, some of them which is redundant or unnecessary. What should you do to address their expectation? More or less matching with the previous question where the person was saying, why I am attending this meeting because I have already received an email about it. Yeah. But say the question might be same, maybe similar, but it may become different because of the choices. As we understand in PMI's exam, the question only get completed when we understand their choices. And depending upon the availability of choice, our answer may change. Same question with 4 different choices may result into different selection. Yeah. The previous question may be giving you only limited choices and you end up selecting something, but the new question may give you more detailed choice and that's why you select something else. So here we have a group of stakeholder group rather than individual who's expressing some too much information things. Yeah. So in general, we are still looking for the same kind of thing. I need to understand their expectation. I need to find out why we are sending it. I explain my view. I understand their view. And after that, we will come up with the agreement and then we will update the communication management plan if needed. Yeah. Option A, conduct a communication risk assessment matrix. Yeah. So little irrelevant. Risk is not the issue. Yeah. Here, maybe if we can far connect it, because of too much communication, people may not be reading this communication. That's why it is risk. Don't go that much deep until unless you don't have any other option left. Option B, decrease the number of communication to these stakeholders. So you are directly agreeing to their observations. Yeah. So say whatever you are doing as per communication management plan. You are not randomly doing something. And if the communication management plan tells or recommends some information to be shared, there must be reasons behind it. Yeah. So I can't just say, okay, you don't need it, we will not send it. I need to see, and I also need to make them aware why are you getting it. Yeah. Option C, meet the stakeholder and understand their communication requirements. Great. Yeah. So both way, meet the stakeholder to explain the reasoning of the decisions which has been made in a communication management plan and also understand their requirements. So this is giving one piece of it, but a good candidate choice. Option D, upgrade the stakeholder communication matrix. So B and D are more or less same. B is just saying that we will decrease. The D is keeping it little open and saying, as per the requirements, we probably will change our communication matrix. You should not be. You should be discussing it and listening first before you do anything. That's a general mindset which you follow for your any PMI exam, and that is true for your PfMP exam as well. Question number 46. You are a portfolio manager currently managing portfolio information. During ongoing activities, you have identified a new stakeholder who was not previously accounted for. Which of the following you update? Yeah. So in a way, very simple, straightforward question, a very simple, straightforward question, but could be confusing if we don't remember that stakeholder related information and their engagement related information is also part of communication management plan in case of PfMP. For example, in our PMP exam or somewhere, you may talk about stakeholder engagement plan, stakeholder register, those kind of things. But here we can say, oh, this all is included in a communication management plan. So in a simple word, I will say, I will update the communication management plan. Now, what about the other choices? Roadmap is not relevant. Report is also not relevant. Portfolio process asset, actually it is relevant. Everything which we do in a portfolio, whatever recommendation and future understanding goes into portfolio process asset. Yeah. All plans, documents will be part of a portfolio asset, process asset at some point in time. But overall, you need to start from communication management plan because that's a direct impacted area. Yeah. So yes, communication management plan is a heading inside your portfolio management plan. So I need to choose C over D because it is more specific. Yeah. Question number 47. You are a portfolio manager. Your organization is a joint venture with another company. However, the management of the partner organization has consistently failed to attend portfolio oversight meetings, causing delays in key decisions. What should you do to address the issue? Yeah. So in a way, it's a stakeholder engagement issue. Yeah, it is something where some stakeholders who were expected to do some type of activity, not doing it. And the question also indicates they are senior stakeholders. They are not your component managers or program managers, because you can assume that component manager, program managers, you have more influence on them. But senior stakeholders, and that is also coming from different company, joint venture. So it is indicating that there's a set of stakeholders who are needed in the meeting, but you have a less influence on them and they are not attending it. And because of that, you are getting delayed. So what should I do? I definitely need to focus on finding the option where I can understand what is their communication expectations, what kind of detail they want, how frequently they want to engage. Yes, we had some agreement before, but seems to be that is not working. I need to talk. Yeah. In general, if I get an option where I can talk, I should select that. But should I not go into, I should not go into escalation directly, and I should not go into a option where I say, I don't need these people in the meeting. Yeah? So that way I should not be taking those drastic extreme steps. Let's see the option. Talk to the management of the partner company to understand communication requirements. Looks cool. Yeah. Meet the competitor to explore alternative opportunities. You are saying I'm running away from it. Unnecessary option, ignore it. Assign an appropriate response from the portfolio risk management plan. Possible, but you need to think a little deep. You can say, oh, I had a risk where I have already identified that there is a possibility these key stakeholder may not attend the meeting. And if that risk will occur, then I will do this. And I already had a risk response plan planned for it. Now, since that trigger is happening where they stop coming in, I want to execute that trigger. Now, if I extend my mind and add information to it, I can go to option C. Yeah. But in general, for PfMP exam, you should not be adding these much building blocks unless there is no other option available. Yeah. So in the option A, I have an easy choice. I just go and talk to them rather than I add an assumption that I will do a risk response because I have this thing already thought about. So I don't go to option C, but it is relevant. Yeah, it's a possible situation. Option D, consult the CEO of the both companies for escalation. I can definitely consult both of them, but not for escalation. So till the time consult the CEO of the both companies were there or senior management of both the companies were there, it was a good option. Yeah, but as soon as the for escalation came, then you know it is not going to be a good option. So in general, best thing is I talk to the people who are creating problem for me directly rather than going somewhere else. The question was a little bit indicating that you failed to do these things, yeah, because it has been causing delay. But okay, you need to focus on still talking to, because the question was indicating that they are consistently failing to attend. That is there. So that way it may looks like it's been a while and I probably need to do something more serious. But there is no a good option which talks about something more serious. So I go with option A. Because directly jumping into the escalation, and that to a specific person as CEOs. Yeah, CEOs is not a thing. If the question indicates I will escalate this matter to a governance group because it is happening consistently. Yeah, with my recommendation, then it could have been an alternative. Yeah? So my recommendation, I will give it to them. But since that option is not there, I can definitely go with option A. Now, why I'm discussing all those possible options? I can just focus on the 4 options given here just to create a mindset so that any other question which is on similar line, which you are going to face in your PfMP exam, you know how to navigate, because the PfMP exam is also trying to judge you based on those thought processes only. Question number 48. As a portfolio manager, you identify a small group of senior executives whose decisions directly impact portfolio prioritization. You need to capture their expectations and interest in detail, which technique is most suitable. So it is all about understanding stakeholder needs and expectation, their communication needs and expectation, and how do we engage with them in future. And that is there. If you look at the portfolio standard or a portfolio PfMP exam content outline, it will talk about you can do interview, you can do calls, you can do meetings, you can do survey. All those possible tools are there. And in fact, the question options are talking about I can conduct a meeting, I can distribute a survey to them, I can make a quick phone call to them, I can send an email and says, why don't you put your expectation in that email? So overall, all 4 options are candidate option. As per your ECO, they are all candidate option. Now here you need to think a little differently, and that thing can help you in getting many answers right whenever it comes to a communication. Especially if you have studied about PMP communication things, methods, there is an interactive communication, there is a push communication, and there is a pull communication. So usually when the stakes are high, maybe the matter is critical or the people involved are critical, I try to take a rich media of communication, interactive also as rich as possible. So in these options, making a quick phone call and conducting meeting, both are interactive. Sending an email is the least preferred. Distributing survey is also more or less like that. I will say you can put your choices there. Yeah. So they are out. I need to compare between A and C only. And since A is more rich, I will go with A. Yeah, so I will conduct a meeting. So again, it depends upon the choices available, but in general, I need to see how much rich communication we can do, especially when it comes to senior management. You are managing a digital transformation portfolio in a large financial institution. Midway through the execution, the head of compliance starts requesting ad hoc reports on data privacy and transaction monitoring. You realize that this stakeholder was not included in your original stakeholder register. Yet these needs are legitimate and would significantly affect portfolio outcomes. Yeah, what should you do? So what this question is trying to show, it is saying you have missed a stakeholder. And how do you know this is a stakeholder? Because this person is showing interest now. Yeah. So, but at the same time, the question is also saying it was not part of the stakeholder register. Now, my one opinion could be that, since this guy is not part of the stakeholder register, I don't want to interact with him. Yeah, that's a possible. And definitely you don't want to think like that. You know that stakeholders' engagement level may change over a period of time. The stakeholder power and interest may change. And there is a possibility of we have a mistake in stakeholder identification, which we have to correct as soon as we identify that. So here we have identified that there is an important stakeholder which was not part of our stakeholder identification process. So I need to work with him. I need to understand his needs and expectation. I need to add him into a communication management plan so that we start sending appropriate communication to him. That is what I'm expecting. Let's see the option. Option A, inform the compliance head that reporting is outside the current scope and continue as planned. So definitely you don't just want to follow your current communication management plan. You want to adapt to it here. Option B, add the compliance head to the stakeholder register, update the communication plan, and capture their reporting needs. Good idea. There is a possibility sometime such thing, depending upon the power you have, may require governance board approval. Because the communication management plan, especially at a high stake portfolio, may got approved by governance already. And these informations are sensitive information. Yeah? But since the question is not going there, we are not thinking about it. But there could be an option in your exam where that angle is also given. Yeah. So this way it is okay. Option B is okay. But we could have a better if we talk about that I will prepare everything and take a governance review. And based on that, we will start communicating with this guy. Yeah? But it's talking about the first step. May not be focusing on will I do it or not. Yeah? It is not saying I will start communicating or not, but I'm updating the communication management plan. Let's see option C. Ask project managers to provide compliance data only if time permits, since this is not anyway related. First, anything coming to me, I need to handle it myself as much as possible, especially when it's a matter to a portfolio level. If some issue which is related to project coming to me, I will definitely want project manager to take care of it. I don't want to go into technical execution, but this is not the case. Option D, escalate the request to the governance board and wait for their direction before taking any action. Now, I need to go with a recommendation. I can't just escalate. This person is asking for some information. What should I do? The question has already indicated that you have done a little bit of assessment and you understand this guy is a legitimate stakeholder. He is not something bothering you. In general, if we have a better option which includes the element of B and D together, then we can create a better choice. But if these choices are only available, I will go with option B because I need to understand, I need to update, and I need to propose my updated communication management plan as per the protocol so that we really start communicating well with this person. Yeah. So if you get these choices only, feel free to choose option B. You won't regret. It will be right for your PfMP exam success. Final question, question number 50. As a portfolio manager, you are finalizing the portfolio communication management plan. Governance member asks you what should be explicitly included in this plan. Which of the following elements are typically found in a communication management plan? So as I said in my previous questions also, such kind of question you can expect for various artifacts which are relevant to each domain. So here you just need to find out of many options, which one is expected to be present in a communication management plan. So lesson learned, approvals, benefits, measurement, methods, they are not about communication. Methods, communication methods, I would say, recipients, vehicles, timeline, and frequency. Yes, it's there. Organization hierarchy, escalation path, and resource allocation. Resource allocation is definitely not, so I can ignore it. Escalation path can be there in a communication management plan. Organization hierarchy depends. It may be there or it's usually into your other places. You see it in your portfolio management plan, other places you put it. But there is a possibility, but resource allocation definitely not. Communication budget, maybe. Project schedule and vendor contract, not. Communication related activities and funding related to communication, we can probably mention in a communication management plan, but others are anyway not. Now, if you follow your ECO, you will see the option B statement directly there. Then they will say, no, these are the things which should be present in the communication management plan. If you see your portfolio management standard, they will give you these names. You can refer there, or you can just see with the help of elimination and you will get your right answer. So in this case, the option B, which is method, recipients, vehicle, timeline, and frequency, looks good for your communication management plan. Now, so these were the 50 questions which should help you in getting ready for your PfMP exam. My recommendation is make good use of your portfolio management standard. The third edition should give you more aligned content for your exam, but definitely you can check the fourth edition also for some of the terminologies. But in general, if you just focus on third, you should do good in the exam. And then you should take mock test. You should ensure that you have a good confidence about it. And your ECO is the other source. If you need assistance on your PfMP exam preparation, you can connect with us. We have a whole program which assists you in getting your PfMP certification faster.